Life is like a bike tour. Bike touring has taught me a lot. I sure don't know everything, and I still got a lot to learn. But I've learned a few things about life from bike touring that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. Like most people, I've learned to survive in this world from the usual sources. You know, parents, teachers, coaches. Probably learned some bad things along the way too. Stuff that would be best unlearned. Mostly from TV, rock and roll music, my older brother and his friends. Just kidding, but not really. But today, I want to talk about things that I learned about life from bike touring that made me see things differently and hopefully make me a better person. I'm not talking about the usual stuff, you know, how to survive outdoors, how to cook, how to set up a tent in the dark, you know, all that stuff. Or how to fix a flat tire or a broken brake cable in the middle of nowhere just to keep my bike rolling down the road. I'm talking about the deep stuff. Pedaling down the road for long stretches really gives you time to get inside your own head and think. I mean, really think about life. In this wild, wacky, crazy world of ours, I find it pretty easy for my brain to get all tangled up in the world. And before I know it, I've lost my way. And I find that with an untangled brain, it helps me navigate my way through just a little easier. Bike touring gives me a chance to untangle my brain and get in touch with my creator. So here's about 6 things that I learned about life from bike touring. You might want to put on your hip waders because it could get deep. Number 1, you can do more than you think you can. I think my natural self is okay with being average, to settle for mediocrity. But bike touring forces me to go farther and do more than I ever thought I could. Bike touring is physically hard, and the open road can be pretty unsympathetic. There have been times when I've been so exhausted and so worn out that I just wanted to quit and go home, sit on my nice soft couch in my air-conditioned living room and watch a good TV show. What am I doing way out here in the middle of nowhere on this nasty bike tour, all sweaty and uncomfortable? But you know, when you're hundreds of miles from home, it's not so easy just to quit and go home. And I think that's what I like about bike touring. In those moments, if my wife was to drive by in a vehicle and ask me to get in, I probably would. Or I suppose I could just stick up my thumb and hitch a ride, go home that way. I've been tempted to do that before. Or stop at the nearest train station or bus station, just buy a ticket and go home. I've been tempted to do that also. Or it might be best just to shake it off and keep going. Unless I'm injured or something like that, I just can't think of an easy way to explain why I quit. Not to myself or someone else. After all, nobody's making me do this except myself. That's why I like bike touring, because there's really no easy way out. There's no one there to bail you out just because it hurts. It's either keep going or take up residence right there on the side of the road forever. And then I remember why I'm out here doing this. It might be that I'm crazy or just bored. Or it might have something to do with type 2 fun. Remember type 2 fun? You know, torturing oneself and looking back on it fondly. So I say a little prayer and muster up the strength to get back up on my bike. But somehow, I usually manage to talk myself into getting back up on the bike, no matter how sore and tired I am, and just keep going for one more day. I've learned that I can do way more than I ever thought I could. With God's help, there's really nothing I can't accomplish. In the real world, when I'm faced with a problem or an obstacle that's hard to overcome, I think about bike touring. If I can ride my bike across the country, surely I can overcome this. This obstacle isn't any harder than go over in Mackenzie Pass in the snow. When I finish a long bike tour, I feel like Superman, like I can walk through walls or something, like there's nothing I can't do. I like that. Number 2. In life, as in bike touring, it's more about the journey and less about the destination. Tolkien said, be careful when stepping off your own front porch. You don't know where that road might take you. Having a cool destination is important. It gives you a goal and something to look forward to at the end of the day. But traveling long distances by bicycle is slow going. You spend way more time pedaling trying to reach your final destination than you do hanging out there once you reach it. You get to your end point, take a few pictures, conduct your normal celebratory and ceremonial activities, enjoy the place for a short slice of time, and then bug out of there and go home. But really, what you remember the most are the towns you went through and the people you met along the way. Every day while bike touring, the road is your destination. You're not really going somewhere, you're already there. It's the experiences that you have along the way that enrich your life. Bike touring has a way of simplifying your existence. Eating, breathing, sleeping, and getting down that next stretch of road. That's what it's all about. I think it's just human nature that we want to stay safe and secure, warm and comfortable. But sometimes, to truly experience life, we have to step outside our comfort zones. Sometimes it's the hardships you had to endure that you remember the most. Those are the times you look back with fondness and smile. A life of constant luxury and comfort is not really the life for me. I always figured nothing worth doing is easy anyway. In America, we call it the land of the free and the home of the brave. But if you think about it, only the brave are truly free. If you stay home, on the safety of your own couch, afraid to venture past the end of your own driveway, are you truly free? In order to be truly free, you have to be brave. At the end of it all, what are you going to remember most? Those comfortable evenings basking in the warm glow of your TV set, enjoying your favorite show? Or the time you got stuck in the snow on a bike tour at the top of Mackenzie Pass? It was getting late and you had to hunker down and stay warm. Which do you remember the most? I suggest the latter. There's really nothing on TV worth watching anyway.
In the confined port area. So engineers relied on the strength of an Italian import.
The contractor came up with an innovative idea to build a special piece of equipment we called surge.
Number 3, slow down. What's your hurry? A guy once told me that the perfect speed for a human to travel is about 10 miles per hour. In this motorized, mechanized, computerized world we live in, everything comes to us immediately. And if it takes longer than 8 seconds, we start to lose interest. Why is everybody always in such a hurry? On a bicycle tour, you can't be in a hurry, unless you're a racer or you're trying to outrun a storm. In a car, just press the gas pedal and you go 70 miles per hour. If traffic is slow or those pesky bicycles get in the way, we get annoyed. At 70 miles an hour, you can't really enjoy the scenery. Maybe that's why driving across Nebraska in a car at 70 miles an hour is boring. But at 10 miles an hour on a bicycle, Nebraska is amazing. While bike touring, I figured out quickly that if I'm in a hurry and I want to go faster, that costs me energy. I got a lot of miles to cover, and it doesn't matter if I go fast or slow, I still got to cover the same miles. If I slow down, I'll still reach my destination, maybe a little bit later, but I'll have some energy left when I get there. One time, I was riding my bike across Kansas, and this other bike tourist came up from behind me, of course. We rode together for a while, and we talked, and one of the things he asked me, he said, "Are you a rabbit or a turtle?" And without hesitation, I said turtle. That is, unless, of course, I have to go fast for some reason. Apparently, he was a rabbit, because for too long, he got ahead of me and never looked back, left me in the dust. Just proves that most people can't ride slow enough to keep up with me. Maybe I just like being on the road, out bike touring. I like getting up at dawn and riding early in the cool morning hours. Morning doesn't last long enough. Passes too quickly to midday. I take lots of rest stops through the day, try to soak in as much as I can. I like taking my time and riding late into the evening. The shadows get longer as the air gets cooler, and the changing light sometimes makes for some awesome shots. That half hour right after sunrise and the half hour before sunset is sometimes called golden hour, because that's when the sunlight is best for pictures. It's kind of funny, because that wasn't the last time I saw my friend the rabbit. The next day, at about the same time, he rode up from behind me again. We chatted for a bit, but before too long, he left me in the dust again. I thought, wow, that's weird. It happened like that about 3 or 4 days in a row. Turned out that we were on the same route, covering about the same distances every day. I would get up earlier and ride much slower. He would get up later and ride a lot faster. By mid-morning, he would pass me and finish earlier each day. I rode late into the evening when it was cool and took lots of pictures. But we would end up in the same place at the end of each day. He rode like a jackrabbit, and I rode like a turtle. To each his own, I guess. That's bike touring. In the real world, I'm sure I annoy people without really trying, because I'm not in a hurry, and I can't understand why they are. Alright, well, it's kind of related to number 3, but number 4, if you just keep moving forward, no matter how slow, eventually you'll reach your destination. In other words, when faced with a task that seems insurmountable, just keep chipping away at it. Given enough time, you can whittle that problem down to a manageable size. One time, I was out on a bike tour, and I was headed west. When I reached the Montana state line, I thought, wow, Montana's a long state, and it's going to take me a long time to get to the other end. It seemed insurmountable. The thought of pedaling hundreds of miles across Montana in the hot sun, probably against the wind, seemed pretty daunting. I thought about how easy it would be in a car at 70 miles per hour. And then I thought about the early trailblazers and pioneers who had to cross the same stretch by foot. Life on a bicycle forces you to recalculate distance and time. So I took my time, chipped away at it, and I pedaled across Montana. It was a great adventure. Life is like a bike tour. When faced with challenges in life, I'm in it for the long haul. I might not solve the problem today, but if I just keep chipping away at it, take a rest when I get tired and come back later, chip away at it some more. Little by little, the problem becomes smaller and more manageable. After a long bike tour, everyday problems seem smaller. And if problems seem smaller, they're easier to overcome, just like riding across Montana. Number 5, I could do with a lot less stuff. As a matter of fact, I'd probably be happier with less stuff. Bike touring has taught me that I really don't need all the things that I think I need. While out bike touring, I survive with one bowl, one spoon, a small cook stove, and a pot to boil water in. I've got my tent, sleeping bag, and a pad, and whatever else I can strap to my bike that I might need down the road. At home, sometimes I wonder why I need a complete matching set of dishes, complete with bowls, cups, and saucers. Answer, because I'm married and I'm not a caveman. See, while out bike touring, I get to be a caveman, and that makes me happy. Bike touring really keeps things simple. Ride, eat, wash, sleep, and repeat. Maybe I like bike touring because it really is close to a caveman's existence, where you have to learn to live comfortably without all the extra fancy stuff that our consumer culture tells us that we need in order to be happy. I don't need a whole matching set of towels. I just need one. But that matching set of towels makes my wife happy, and I don't see it as my place to deny her the nice things that she really likes. Just because I'm a caveman, that doesn't mean she has to be a cave woman. So I have to find a balance between living in the real world and living in the bike touring world on the road like a caveman. Bike touring has taught me that I sure can live with a lot less stuff. Number 6, there are more good people in the world than there are bad people. I know there's a lot of bad people in the world, but I can only speak from my own experience. But I've had countless encounters with people over the years while out bike touring, and it's been my experience that the vast majority of people are cool, kind, helpful, courteous people. Of course, your results may vary. I know there are jerks out there, and I've met a few. And there are even some very bad people out there, so always be careful. On more than one occasion, I've had a complete stranger render aid to me in some form or another for no apparent reason other than they just wanted to. Some people just want to be helpful. I call these people trail angels. And there's lots of trail angels out there. Being on a bicycle has a certain appeal that brings out the helpfulness in others. If you're traveling on a motorcycle, people might think you're in like a motorcycle gang or something, and they leave you alone. But when you're traveling on a bicycle, it gives the appearance of innocence or even helplessness. It makes you appear more vulnerable and definitely more approachable, especially if you're riding solo. I've had lots of people stop and offer me water or Gatorade. I've had people buy me dinner or invite me over to their house for the night, offer me money, and basically take care of me while I'm out bike touring. One time, I was riding my bike across Oregon, and a guy in a pickup truck stopped and offered me an ice-cold beer. I couldn't say no, so I took a break from the hot sun under a cool shade tree and drank the best tasting beer I ever had in my life. So many people have helped me out on the road over the years that I feel compelled to pass it on. When I see bike tours traveling through southern Illinois, I always want to stop and see if they need a hand. And if I stop and they say they don't need any help, then I just move along and leave them to their adventure. We've hosted a few cyclists traveling through over the years, and it's always fun to help out and share in their adventure. One thing that I've learned about people over the years, it really doesn't matter what race, religion, gender, or political affiliation. People have way more in common with each other than they have different. There are more things that bind us together than divide us. So why does this world seem so divided? I don't know. Maybe more people should go bike touring. You might look at life differently afterward. You'll have more confidence and not let life's little obstacles get in the way of you accomplishing your goals. You'll slow down and enjoy the smaller steps along life's journey. You might even see that there's more to life than accumulating stuff. Lighten the load a little and put some adventure into your everyday life. You'll be more persistent at overcoming challenges that once seemed overwhelming. Long-distance bicycle touring can shift your perspective and make you see the world in a whole different way. You might look at people differently and see that even though we're all on separate journeys, we're all God's children. And if we treat each other right, we can make it a better world. Well, thanks for indulging me and coming along with me on a little romp through Suchecki's brain.
Okay, I forgot one, so add this to the list. Ready? Number 7. The world is big and life is short, so go ride your bike.